Hi, this is Shotstack. And before I go any further, let me start with the end in mind. As part of my human in the loop experiment, there are two things I am looking at. One is personal productivity, and the other one is how media and events businesses, which is the sector I know the most, would change in terms of using AI, adopting AI, making it work for them. One of the trends, I suppose it's not really a trend, but one of the beliefs I have is that API-based video editing is going to be a very unique way of creating a differentiator. Now, you've got SaaS platforms that'll do this for you, but in the ones I've tried, I believe you end up losing your tone of voice. And I think the game is authenticity and genuine connection. In my view, you can get closer to creating that by controlling how the content is generated in the first place and handing over the editing work to a API-centric platform, a bit like Shotstack. One of my big tests before using a platform is to just open that up and try it. And if I can very quickly wrap my head around it, it's user-friendly, I understand how it works and what it does, then it gets to the next step. So this is Shotstack. Let's see what we've got. What we've got here is this is how you end up being landed. There's a little guide that takes you through everything. And that guide makes it pretty obvious that what you're designing here is a template. So in that template, you can add merge fields. All of this looks super intuitive. So it's like old school mail merge, right? Where you go, hey, I'm going to add a caption or an animation and so on. And then I noticed, so if I add a merge field, I could just, looks like I can say what type of merge field it is. So is it an image? And then in the overlays, I can add sort of headings and things like that. All of that is pretty good. And then I can access these, it looked like. The other thing is here, out the box, it's got the ability to connect to storage buckets. So AWS, Google Cloud, which is what we use, Google Drive, Vimeo, interesting, TikTok, that's a surprise. And then it looks like it is very simple to whatever template you've created in this design to then reference it in the automation and send the files. The other thing that is really useful here is on the left-hand side, it gives you the JSON definition of this template. And then we've got some quite nice tools for defining how we want to shape and create things in the template. I quite like it. I think this looks way more useful and intuitive than some of the other API-based video editing solutions, which are very code heavy. They don't have this nice visual place to design a template. You kind of have to design those templates in code. The use case for us here is I'm looking at creating what I call the everything everywhere engine, where in the videos that we create, in the insights that we get, how can we take them and tune them, retain our tone of voice, and push them into destination platforms with a DNA that is designed to work in how those platforms work. So Instagram and TikTok have the same aspect ratio, but they behave and work very differently. And I think that's a problem worth solving. So yeah, I quite like what we've got here. This lets me design a template really quickly. And then as an added bonus, there is a nice integration with Make. So I can use make.com to drive the initial proof of concept, rendering prototypes, and so on. One of the big use cases, personalization here, right? And if you look at a media business, and big businesses tend to have aspects of themselves that work as media businesses. You know, we all run webinars to tell stories and so on, which create video files at the end of the day. And I believe that those video files, the dissemination, the personalization of the back of it is highly underutilized. I'd love to attend a webinar, and at the end of the webinar, it goes, hey, here's a shorter version of it based on the problems you're trying to solve. And it just clips it through that can be shared. So those are just some of the use cases why I want to access a more API-centric video creation platform. And so far, Shotstack is looking good. And then when you click back into the main screen by clicking on the Shotstack item, there's quite a lot more. So you've got ready-made templates for social media, e-commerce, so on. Edit the design, make changes on the tracks, and then use the API to render things through. It's all pretty straightforward and simple. Got a playground here, so you can try out any of the API requests, and it looks like you can create a workflow. And this is interesting. You can use webhooks or CSV files. So suppose you can create a whole bunch of a CSV file with all the information, load it up, and it'll just run it and create a few videos for you. It looks really, really promising, actually. Very promising. The best thing is it's pay as you go. So this is one of my bugbears about SaaS platforms. You know, pay on a monthly basis. There's some months where you use it quite heavily, other months where you don't use it at all, but you're still paying. And the only people who are winning from that model are actually the platform owners, not you as the customer. This is my short overview of Shotstack. Very, very promising. And we're looking at more API-based video solutions as part of my human in the loop journey. Thank you for watching this one.